So this video, let me start casting. Alright, this video I'm going to show you a couple of the other educational things that you can do in VR. The first one is a very popular thing that a lot of people are doing lately, especially with COVID, is creating a virtual reality version of museums, and art museums, including things like the Anne Frank House, um, memorials, that kind of thing, and creating this virtual experience where you can go to the museum in VR instead. So, I think it's a really, really good idea. I mean, I may never get the chance to go to the Anne Frank House in real life, but I've gone to the virtual version of the Anne Frank House, and it was an incredible experience. Certainly not the same, but the next best thing. And there's two different modes here. You can do story mode, which I think is the best, but for time's sake, I'm going to show you tour mode. In the story mode, it takes you through her entire story and shows you pictures of World War II and what it was actually like, and then takes you through the house like a guided tour. The tour mode is more like a self-guided tour where you can go through yourself. So we're just going to look at a few things here in this. Okay, so here I am in a virtual example of the Anne Frank house. Actually here. Um, and anytime you see these little quote marks, you just click on them and it'll tell you something.
Our hiding place has now become a true hiding place. Mr. Kugler, you see, thought it would be better to place a cupboard in front of our door. But then, of course, a cupboard on hinges that can open like a door. Now, when we want to go downstairs, we have to duck first, then jump. After 3 days, we were all walking around with bumps on our foreheads because everyone kept banging their heads against the low doorway. Peter then made the door frame as soft as possible by nailing to it a cloth full of wood shavings. We'll see if it helps.
So where she was talking about, you can see the cupboard in front of the room, and you can see where they have to go downstairs in this log that they would have bumped their heads on. And if you want to move forward, if you're in a big enough room, you can walk forward yourself. But then you've got these footsteps on the floor where you can point them and then push the trigger button and go right over here and open the cupboard. And go through the door. Alright, so here we are in the next room, and we've got several different options here. Here another quote.
Straight across from the door, a steep set of stairs. To the left, a little hallway and a room, which is to be the Frank family's living room and bedroom.
And so you would just continue and go through and see as much as you want to see, right? So very cool. And there's a few different apps like this. I, of course, as an English person, am partial to something that's related to literature. So again, for time's sake, I'm going to go ahead and cancel us out of this app. And one of my very favorite things, just to orient myself here, okay. One of my very favorite new things to discover are these documentary apps. So these three, they're right here in a row, are probably three of my favorite experiences that I've had in VR so far. And there are so many more that I haven't even explored yet. We Live Here it's a documentary is, I guess, the best way to describe it, even though it's really more of an experience than a documentary because you're right there in it. But this is about homelessness in our country, and you're literally right there in this lady's tent as she's experiencing what it's like, and you hear her story. It's incredible. And Traveling While Black is very powerful and moving. And you literally sit across a dining table from someone who lost her son due to police brutality. And, it creates this empathy that, I don't know that there really is another way to do it where virtual reality creates this connection that you don't get in a normal film documentary because you're right there with them. Notes on Blindness is beautifully done. I can't really think of words to describe it, but it uses sound, in a way that you wouldn't normally expect. And you get the literal notes from someone who was blind himself and his experience with blindness. I'm going to show you just a little bit of We Live Here, just so you can get an idea. And what you're going to see in the cast is nothing like the actual experience here.
Picture this. You got your dream job breaking stallions. You're not a cowgirl. You're a cowboy working outside with your hands. Life couldn't be better. But then your boss dies. Now you have no job, no safety net. And you find yourself here, homeless. Walking a mile to get water that some nice lady let you have from her hose. Can you picture this? Being Rocky, 59, and living in a park, trying your best to make the tent you live in feel like home.
Relax. There you go.
Why? What's up?
It's on the way. They're ready a lot.
Well, I'm gonna go because you passed me up last time.
So you don't even have your ID. Let's go. You want a chance? Essentials order. Let's go.
I need that just for my coffee.
Let's go.
Now imagine you've done nothing wrong but lose your home. And with it, you lose your right to exist, to be respected, seen. Imagine having to become invisible.
LAPD! Out of your tents! Everybody! LAPD, come on out! Anybody in there? Anybody home? Anybody in there? You're up. Kyle, we got 10:15. On December 9th, 2016.
Y'all working down upon us?
Work experience.
It feels like people don't really care right here.
The National Alliance against
People think that we are just
And so it continues from there, of course, and you learn a lot more about that particular lady and her experience. And again, it's just incredibly powerful. There's not really any way to describe it other than that. So I can't say enough about these types of experiences where they're really more documentary, more educational, more empathy building practices than anything else. All right, so I'll stop this video here and start another one.